Hey guys, it's your girl Lisa here with the Real Movie Lovers, back with some more movie news. Pierce Brosnan would totally play James Bond again. You know, if they asked him to. Do tell.
Thank you, Mr.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
So Pierce Brosnan was the James Bond of my day, in my younger years. He was in 4 Bond movies: GoldenEye, 1995, Tomorrow Never Dies, 1997, The World Is Not Enough, 1999, and Die Another Day, 2002. Before Daniel Craig, you had Pierce Brosnan, and he nailed it. When I think of James Bond, I don't really think Sean Connery. I don't think Daniel Craig. I really think Pierce Brosnan. He really nailed Bond for me. He had all of the patience, the skill, the charm, the confidence. Like, he nailed all of that for me. Daniel Craig's Bond seemed a little unhinged there, but he was the one that had the longest run. So we got to see a full arc of him grow as a person. In other movies, it's always been Bond being Bond. So there's that caveat. But the question is, would we want to see an older Bond? And what would that look like? So Amazon bought MGM some time ago and became the owners of the Bond series, the Bond character as we know it. And the family that originally held the creative control over that, literally gave up the reins to Amazon. That feels like a mistake. So now Amazon is just foaming at the mouth. They can't wait to get Bond back in theaters. They're just counting the days. So now there's a lot of rumors happening, a lot of talking going on, going back and forth. Who's going to be Bond? What's going to be happening? So first, I will say that the director who is going to be doing the new Bond movies is Denis Villeneuve. Villeneuve? If I ever meet any of these people in real life whose names I consistently mispronounced, there's going to be a lot of apologizing. Anyway, he's the guy who directed the Dune movies, Arrival, the new Blade Runner, and this is just naming a few of them. So the director is very capable, given the opportunity and freedom to do so. Because another reason we have a lot of string of bad movies is everything is being done by committee and trying to appease to the largest common denominator. And again, what have we always said? If you go out trying to please everyone, you will please no one. Now, the person who's going to be writing the script is Stephen Knight, and he is the creator of Peaky Blinders, that show with Cillian Murphy that everyone loves. So we have got a strong foundation, okay? And Bond himself, Bond is a franchise. So you've got a major franchise, okay, that has stood the test of time. All right, what Roger Moore, like how many Bonds have there been? I'm not gonna look into it right now, but you got all those Bond guys, all through all the years, all the decades, strong. Now you got a strong director, you got a strong writer. The foundation is strong. The next thing they need to nail is the Bond character himself. Now, Pierce Brosnan, first of all, when they cast Daniel Craig initially, Brosnan was a little hurt because at the time, obviously, he was much younger. He was like, hey, I still got some Bond left in me. I could still do this thing. And I believe him. I know he could. However, the journey that they wanted to go on Bond with Daniel Craig, in the long run, I think was the better choice. Like, if they were just trying to do like, oh, we're just gonna make a couple like Bond movies, yeah, throw Pierce Brosnan in the mix. But they ended up doing this, like, how many were there? 7, 8 movie arc or whatever with Bond. That's a lot of commitment. So I see why they made the decision that they made, and I get it. Now, what's crazy is to realize that Pierce Brosnan is 72 years old.
What?
Pierce Brosnan still looks good in his older age, still carries it well. But Bond isn't just about looking the part. You have to be the part. And the question is, does Pierce still have it? And what would it look like if we had a 72-year-old Bond? Because the oldest Bond that we had on record was Roger Moore, and he was 58 when he played Bond. Listen, Pierce is not delusional, okay? He understands people may not want to see in his words, a craggly 72-year-old Bond. But if the director wants to make it happen, he all about it. Pierce has made no secret about him loving the character of Bond and wanting to play the character of Bond and enjoying the character of Bond. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. Bond is a very fun character to play. He always has cool gadgets. He's always suave, smooth, got the best cars, the best wardrobe, has some of the coolest enemies that he goes up against. And the thing is, Bond himself is such a flawed, interesting character that his villains normally don't overshadow him. They normally are paired great together and they go toe to toe.
Your pills and your drink.
Don't forget my pathetic love of country.
Because Bond is not this perfect angel specimen, okay? The dude loves the women. You know what I'm saying. Now, there are some comments under this article about how people are feeling about the idea of Pierce being Bond in his older years. So Rando says, I could bang out a Brosnan old man Bond flick in a week tops. You could tone down the action and make it proper espionage film where his age would be unimportant. Okay. Nico says, approach it like BR 2049. Oh, Blade Runner. The old guy is in it and pivotal to the story, but the main actor is younger. Have, Aaron Taylor Johnson as the young 00 agent who is out of his depth and is told by Judi Dench, maybe, to go to someone she knows who can help him, and it's a previous, now retired Bond. Bam. Brosnan. Oh. Okay. I could see that. Matt Guggman says, an elderly Bond would be super interesting. Treat Bond like a call sign instead of a name. Brosnan would be the elderly prior Bond 007 brought in to help with something from one of the older movies. I'd watch that. So we're getting some good comments here, but not everybody is gung-ho about this. Tan Hauser says he did a fantastic job in his 4 movies. It should stay that way. Now, if a studio wants to cast him as the main villain, I'd be up for that. He could really give 007 a run for his money and he could come full circle. Okay, that'd be cool. And then Pro Hole says, this older agent becomes villain is pretty much just the plot of GoldenEye, isn't it? Is it? And then even Daniel Craig's version did that, where a former agent was captured and tortured and became a villain all on his own. So it's been done, but it's still always fun to do. So I'm not going to cancel that out. That could still work. You know, I'm going to read this comment because it's just ridiculous. Clearly what we need here is a father-son movie with Brosnan as old man Bond and Pete Davidson as his son who has rejected his father's spyish ways only to discover that he and his dad have a lot more in common than he first thought. Oh, and they said, I'm just kidding. Please don't do this. Because you know they would. Don't give them ideas. So as fun as it is to like think about this and ponder about this, I mean, we all know at the end of the day that they're probably not going to go for a 70-year-old Bond. That's not who the character is in this series. Bond doesn't get old. Bond just continues, basically. So more than likely, we're going to be getting a Bond in his 20s and 30s. Because the other thing about that is even if they wanted to do an older Bond, they're already limiting themselves to how many movies that they could do. So if they wanted to do like a 4-movie deal, and let's see, Pierce is 72 now. let's say he starts shooting 73, the movie gets released 74. So he's 74 years old when his first movie's released. And they want to do 3 more movies. He could be well over 80 when they're done. That's quite the commitment. And even though you could make it more about espionage and all that stuff, there is still a certain level of physicality that people expect from Bond. They expect the fights and all that stuff. Even with the gadgets, Bond still went toe-to-toe with them hands. So people want to see that as well. Even though a 70-year-old man could most likely take care of himself, him going up against a 30-something-year-old man half his age, unless they came across a villain who was 72, it's a lot. And as I've learned from the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, age and youth is hard to beat. That being said, I do like the idea of him being in the movie, whether as a former Bond, whether as the father and the sons following the sisters. Like, you don't have to do that, but it would be cool to incorporate that. It would definitely, probably get some older fans on board who knew Pierce's Bond, and introduce, the next generation. Especially if you're going younger. If you're getting a Bond in his 20s, you want there to be some kind of father figure around. Whether it is, a former 007 or his actual dad or even an uncle, for all I know. But if you're getting a Bond in his mid to late 30s, well, then he's kind of like a man already. Not that he's not in his 20s, but there's just a certain level. With each decade, you gain more wisdom, more knowledge, more confidence, more experience. So a 20s Bond listening to his dad makes a little more sense than a 30s Bond's. But, and then Pierce loving this character and wanting to continue to play it, I think it would take away if he played it as Bond right now, because let's be real, that's what happened with Indiana Jones. And I already mentioned that, but I'll mention it again. Harrison Ford loved Indiana Jones and he was good at him. But when he got to be in his older age and he was still trying to do Indiana Jones, he just didn't hit as well, I should say. But, those movies had completely different issues, but whatever. Anyway, I digress. So let's talk about who we want new James Bond to be. But real quick, let's see. They were throwing out Jacob Elordi. Good Lord. Can I speak much? Elordi? He's from the Kissing Booth movies. Yes, I watch a lot of teen rom-coms. Leave me alone. As weird as I'm going to sound when I say this, he's 6'5". He feels too tall. I know, but he feels too tall. Just by a few inches. Maybe like 6'2", 6'1". I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he's just been playing. Whenever I see him on screen, he plays around. He like towers over everybody. So in my mind, I'm like, you're a Bond that everyone's going to remember, right? Like, you can't slide in and out of places. You're like 6'5". You tower over everybody. I don't know. Let me see an audition. Who am I? Who I think I am? Okay. Who else? Aaron Taylor Thomas. I think he's a good fit. From Kick-Ass to Craven, wild. He was in a bunch of things that were awesome. Like that Train movie as well. Like, he just really grew into his own as an actor. And I just was like, okay, I could see it. I could see him doing some of the suave smoothness. You guys had an opportunity to do Idris Elba, but now he's too old. He's not as old as Pierce, but it would be the same issue. Because now it's like, what, you got him for 2 movies, maybe 3? Maybe. What does that look like? Can his physicality take it? I mean, I know he can pull it off here, okay? There's no questions. But that being said, my final recommendation is Damson Idris, the guy from Snowfall. He has the charisma, the style, the youth. You could definitely go the full route with him. You want to do 5 or 6 movies? He got you. And the dude is talented.
So from here on out, I don't want to hear anything else about kilos or prices. Y'all want to go out on your own? Fine. But do not for 1 second fuck around with what I got to do to get mine. Because I promise you, there is nothing I'm not prepared to do.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Damson Idris. Those are my 2 picks for James Bond. Who would you choose and why? Well, you don't have to tell me why. You can just tell me who you want. And let's have a discussion in the comments. Let's talk about it. I'm open. I'm just telling you who's in my head right now, who I'm thinking of. You know what the other thing about Jacob Elordi is, now that I'm mentioning it? There's something baby face and experience about his face that I think wouldn't give me grown man. And maybe it's because I have really, still see him as like the kid from Kissing Booth or something. But like, it just, like he's, I don't know. He's got that baby face like Tom Holland, that baby face going on. Like, I know you're a man, dog, but like, you know what I mean? You look like a little baby. You can still play a high schooler or a little college kid. All right, let me know what you guys' thoughts and your picks in the comments. And thank you again for checking out this video, taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen to me go on and on. I really appreciate it because I know that you could literally be doing anything else that you want to do right now. But you chose to listen to me, and that means a lot. So thank you. And if you enjoyed yourself, feel free to hit that like button. And if you're feeling my channel, we'd love for you to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can always be up to date on what's going on and what I'm dropping. If you have any suggestions for topics or anything you want me to talk about, just pop them right in the comments section. And I will do my best to accommodate. I also want to take this time to give a huge shout out to my top tier Patreon members, Von Kurt and Thelma. Thank you guys so much. And if you guys are looking to join my community, check me out on Patreon, NXG Global Productions. We'd love to have you guys be a part. And hit me up on Instagram and TikTok. Links are in the description. See you guys in the next video. Bye.